Welcome back. We've been messing up, obviously, because ABxETA, like time wise, yeah, we don't know the kind of thing. We don't know that kind of thing. But anyway, AB, we have Chanda Mbao here, ETA, rapper. If you're not new to the podcast, please follow, all that good stuff. Yeah, I think I'm done.
Yeah, but we said we want to have a very special person on the show. He's a friend of ABX ETA for the longest time. We've been boys with him for the longest time. Just a big supporter of our music as well, like in many ways. And it just makes the most sense to finally have him here.
Yeah.
I always had his name on my guest list, my top 5 somewhere there. So, so, ladies and gentlemen, Chanda Mbao.
What's up?
Yeah,
How you
so
doing, guys?
hopefully at this point, like in the comments, everyone's clapping and then yeah,
Cool. Let's do it.
yeah. So I think to get it started, like we just wanted to just like get into Chanda Mbao, pause, and just like give us a little bit like info about yourself. I think we can start first with like outside of the music, because everybody knows you for making the music.
Yeah.
But like maybe outside of that, like who is Chanda Mbao? Like on a day to day.
It's an interesting question. I guess, who is Chanda Mbao? I am a Zambian. I guess that's the first thing about me. That's always good to mention. Yeah, I'm a Zambian who lives in Zambia, who's passionate about music, but other than music, I am involved in my career is basically in finance, so that's kind of what I do. And then aside from what I do, I am passionate about what? I'm passionate about reading. I read a lot, but most of the time, I'd say I probably spend working. So
Yeah.
Okay.
The reading actually, I would have never guessed. Not in like you don't look like a reader. I didn't expect it. Yeah.
Bro, as a yo body president, I gotta read.
You know
what are you talking about? What are you talking about? How am I gonna publish a statutory instrument without jumping
yeah.
It's like me saying I read like 3 books last month.
Gangsta. What's up?
No,
That's not
Oh.
true. Yeah.
No, it's dope, man.
It's
It's
count.
dope.
It's
It's
count.
dope.
Now, hopefully by the end of this, we would have like gotten some reading culture. Hopefully from you somehow. I know I won't, but
I always try. Yo.
I don't even.
Yeah?
No, like even long messages. when I see that, read more.
TLDR.
I know. Yo.
Be careful what you're saying right now, bro.
TLDR.
Be careful what you're saying.
TLDR.
What does TLDR mean?
Too long didn't read.
Yeah. Okay.
Y'all didn't know?
Gonna write that down somewhere.
Yeah, I know that.
And then getting into the music now. How did I think firstly I'm curious, like, did you start with did you start with like the business side first? Then you're like, oh wait, I think I like music. I always have. Let me get into that. Or was it like I've been making music, then I started doing business, and then like, oh actually I'm gonna keep doing music.
That's a good question, because I think for most people it's like their journeys are sequential, but mine is not. Mine has always been. I've always had both. So I started music. My first passion, or like, these things, you know how it is as like musicians, like your first dalliance with music is not that formal. You might record something at home on your computer, right, when you're a kid or whatever. So that's how it starts. Then I was like, okay, I have made one song. Let me make like 10 songs, put it on a CD and try and sell it at school. So yeah, bro, that's where we came from.
Okay.
So it starts like that, but I've always had both, but I never was never really in my mind like stop school or stop my career or stop whatever for music.
And then
That was never a thing for me. So I just kind of always did both.
That's cool. I feel like I started music. It used to be like rap battles, like in school.
people have the dopest origin stories for their music. AB just sent me a beat and I was like, I think I'll make music now.
That's dope. That's dope.
But that first producer of ours was he was a D word.
Oh.
Yeah, he was a D word.
Yeah.
Which D word?
Whichever one's the worst.
The D word.
Yeah, it was because we at the beginning we didn't have like our own recording stuff or even the software know-how. or a studio or anything like that. So someone recommended him to us. I don't remember who, but and it's someone I think you know. We'll mention after this episode is done shooting. But we went there, recorded like 2 songs, and it was just like a very basic mix. And we're like, yeah, okay, cool. We'll put the songs out, and we're like, okay, we kind of feel like taking it this direction. And he was like, you guys actually don't know jack about the music industry. Took us outside, gave us a lecture, and that's the last time we're there.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
It was like, when you guys are serious about music, come back.
That's so funny.
Yeah,
Imagine.
so I guess we're still not serious.
I've never been back.
Yeah. So
like, how far back is that first song or that first couple songs, and what's the progression from that?
The first songs, man, that's like, bro, that's like so long. It's like, cause yeah, my first songs were in like, that's like middle school or something, bro.
Bro.
Yeah.
Yo.
So, you know what I mean? That's like really long ago.
I only got into it in like uni.
Really, that's crazy. No,
Yeah.
by uni, I was so far gone. Like, actually though, in uni, I did like pause a bit because like in uni, like I worked really hard. Like everyone's always surprised because I went to university in Miami, so everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, must have been a huge party." I'm like, "No, bro, I was taking like 6 classes every semester, working a campus job. I was like president of 2 clubs. I was like, all the things you think I was doing, I was not doing.
the opposite. Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, so maybe no, let me let you.
I was gonna say you sound like you actually really enjoy working.
These are the issues.
Because like all the time my alarm just goes off. I'm like, this again, bro, again, work.
Yeah, work can be I don't know, it's draining or anyway, I think I've just come to it. Like I've always known it, but I think the whole office setup has just never really been my thing. And I was like, you know what, let me try it. And by the end of it, I was like, oh, I was right that whole time.
That's funny.
Yeah. So I feel like, I think it's necessary to go through it. But yeah, you mentioned Miami.
Yeah, that's where I went to uni and stuff, and I also like worked there for a while.
Yeah. So for like, how long were you there for?
7 years, 7 years. Yeah.
Okay, so that's what, 4 years of uni and then
Working.
Oh, okay. What was that like?
Pretty dope. Yeah, I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever want to stay?
No, never into perpetuity. I always wanted to come back to Zambia. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the stint, and I think I made the most of it. So
Yeah.
I feel like most people when they leave like the country, they never want to come back.
Yeah. I've also always wondered what that's about, though.
Ish.
So it's funny because like I've always been very philosophically like committed to like coming back to Zambia, and I always felt like that's, I don't know, what one should do.
Yeah.
But like I remember we had an employee at the company that I run, and she was an intern at the company, but I saw her like firsthand, like, before being an intern with us, she was explaining how many jobs she applied for and all that kind of stuff, and just like how hard her grind was to try to find something. And this is a girl with a master's degree and like in engineering, and like she was like super qualified, you know what I mean? And I was like, man, like that's wild that like you would go through something so hard considering how well qualified you are, and just like I could see the exasperation. And ultimately she ended up, after the internship, opting to go to enroll in a PhD program, abroad. And when she was telling us, I was like, you know what, I understand. I think Zambia is a tricky place depending on what you're trying to do, and depending on and I think her analogy, which like always stuck with me, was something about like basically, if the soil is not fertile, it doesn't matter how good quality the seed is.
Wow.
Right. And I was like, damn, I can't
go,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
can't argue that.
Go where you're going to flourish, let me not force you on this Zambia. No, Zambia. It's like, it's not easy. So
No, but I've noticed a lot of people, if it's not coming back, they always still miss home. There's just something that ties you to it. People start now looking for mealie meal because they're missing Shema, things like that. Like they find circles and they commit to those circles of like other Zambians within that other country, and you just still want to feel like you're a part of it. Because when people who travel, they're always like commenting on all the little things that are happening in Zambia, and you can see the phone.
miss
Like,
it,
they miss it.
Yeah, it's a tricky one, man. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm happy I came back, and I don't think I'd do my life any other way.
Yeah.
But I can see how, like, it won't work for some. Yeah, I can see it. So,
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to, like, take us towards the hot take. And so it's basically just around the music industry here in Zambia.
Okay.
Right? So so obviously the cliche question people get to ask is, let's compare and then but I never really hear like solutions like, like, so I'm thinking, okay, I have Chanda here. And if, for example, you had the power to like do something about it and like fix it, what is something that you would do for it to work?
The Zambian music industry?
Yeah.
Oof, that's a good question. I think... okay, let me think about this in terms of low-hanging fruit. I think that the first thing that we need to do, and I would like spearhead, I guess, in a position of power, but I think it's also something we can think about how we can like take collective action on, is I think that mobile money needs to be far more integrated with artists' offering. Right? Like it's a weird thing that we have an ecosystem for entertainment that exists separate from mobile money. Like, because for artists to earn money, they need to be integrated into payment systems.
Yeah.
So it just makes no sense the way our thing is set up that, like, if I'm a fan somewhere in whatever, Sinazongwe, and I like Chanda Mbao, there's no, like, immediately actionable step I can take to pay him.
Yeah.
That exists, that is integrated with the payment method I'm used to.
Yes.
Right? So I think that that's like a really obvious problem, right? Like there needs to be pipes in between the product and the consumer to allow the consumer to pay for the product.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Otherwise,
it's a free product.
Right? So I think that's like the first thing I do is like, okay, how do we either create some storefront or whatever, or connect the existing infrastructure into existing storefronts that can actually reach the people? Because like think about Spotify or whatever streaming. There was a time, first of all, Spotify wasn't even available here. And if it were available, you have to VPN through a Shanyuko and you need a credit card, and your credit card shouldn't say that it's Zambia. There's like a whole, you know what I'm saying? So like it doesn't make sense. Like how are we gonna pay Zambian artists with ecosystem that we're relying on that's not here? Right? So we need to think, okay, what ecosystems do we have and how do we plug those into? Yeah, so that's the first thing I'd do.
That's a good one. Because obviously to create an industry, you need to be able to fund the industry. It's the only way that it works. I think some platforms have tried that, but again, it's always a measure of like, for instance, there's internet access, there's things like that. So what does that platform even end up looking like? For instance, there are a lot of sites where you can just maybe not a lot, a couple like Zambian ones where you can put your tape up. And people can pay with like card and also
like
mobile money, right? Exactly, like Sasani. But then obviously that creates a great barrier to a lot of other people, I feel like.
What do you mean? Which other? When you say other people, on which side? The consumption side?
On the consumption side.
Okay.
Yeah. Cause
I see.
How much access do you have to that platform? So.
No, the access is there. I guess the issue is maybe the awareness in some cases, right? Or unless you mean monetarily.
I think it might be.
Because like nothing can stop. Like anyone who can get on the internet can log on to www.thisissunday.com, for example, as one example, right? So when you say access, what do you mean?
I think, okay, so for instance, with Apple Music on your Spotify, it's easy because you pay once a month. It's an app on your phone.
Okay.
It's immediately available to you, right? With Investesani, you have to make the deliberate purchase to buy that one artist's music. So it means I have to be your biggest fan for the most part.
Yeah.
To then.
Okay, so that's not an access problem. I think that's more of like a. So that's a different. Like that's a wider music industry debate about bundling versus unbundling. Meaning, do you want an all-you-can-eat buffet or do you want a la carte, right? And there's like, you'd have to run like a cost-benefit analysis on both, because depending on who you're optimizing for, one might be better than the other, right? So like the buffet is obviously quite good for the consumer because the consumer pays one price and they can eat whatever they want, mac and cheese and shima, whatever they want, right? It's all there, right? They eat until they get full, right? Yeah. But that doesn't necessarily favor the artist because, like, you know, someone's done the math. I've done it before one time, but I don't remember. But like 1 million streams is like, you know, a couple $1,000.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I have, like, that's not even one music video sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not doing 1 million streams. So, like, you know what I mean? So, so that's the economics, though, of the buffet, of the all-you-can-eat buffet. Yeah. The a la carte is good because the theory is if you like something, then your resources should go to that thing that you like, right? Yeah. As opposed to when you do the all-you-can-eat buffet, what ends up, it's a pot. So all of you are putting your $12 or whatever it is Spotify charges into a pot, and then based on the collective consumption, that pot is divided. So you end up paying people you don't really listen to because of the collective consumption. Yeah. So you are subsidizing art which you're not that interested in, right? So okay. You know what I'm saying. So there's a lot. So there's this is like a multi-layered like thing, and like it's an argument, right? But ideally, like there is a universe where it makes the most sense, right? Which is why, by the way, so there's a counterculture movement against streaming, like a Bandcamp, and like there's a few that are like, no, we're gonna stick to the old thing. So if you like somebody, go pay that somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like that person should get your whole $1 or your whole $12 if they're the person that you like and listen to. Yeah. That my $12 should not go to whoever. You know what I'm saying? It should go to the person that I want it to. Yeah. I think the real issue is just like I think it's like a marketing issue, is that these like alternate platforms probably don't have enough access to like marketing spend to have the awareness out there the way it should be. Yeah. Right. So I think that's the issue.
Okay. I think that does make sense, because if a fan of ETA says, "Hey, I'm gonna pay for Spotify just to listen to ABxETA," eventually that payment they made is still going to a whole lot of other people.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's an amount they could have paid once off for one of our offerings, even for a single if they wanted to.
Yeah. Exactly.
So it's okay. So it's like a marketing and distribution sort of thing to look at. So who changes that?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, right? Like we need to think about, okay, how do we leverage the existing payment ecosystem and infrastructures and make it easy to pay the artist, right? So like you say, I mean, there's a couple of people that have tried from the private sector perspective, but there's also top-down ways you could like basically I believe now like AudioMac actually says they now have. You can pay through and you can pay through like mobile money, I believe. Really? Yeah, they sent out some big emails saying that no, we've localized our payments, so now we have like payments available in all these markets, so I think that now you can pay. So we just need more of that, and I guess we could probably force platforms, I don't know. There's probably a way that you could make that happen. Or you could make the telcos come up with a marketplace. I know that like I believe in Nigeria there's a local streaming platform that's like built on MTN money in Nigeria. Yeah,
sort of like Airtel TV, because they did a whole like for broadcasting on their.
Really? Okay. I think so. I think something like that. Yeah. So I think that's so. Yeah. So I don't know who does it. It's a good question. I mean, I guess you could send proposals into these corporates and say, hey. I guess the thing is trying to figure out, because all these corporates, I mean, they only move, obviously, they're like, what's in it for us?
The value for us,
yeah. But I mean, the value add is actually pretty obvious, right? Because for like the telcos, what they want is people to put more talk time and more data on their phones. Done.
Yeah.
Right? So so you might as well, you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know.
I feel like if I was in that position, like, this is just an answer to the question I asked you. Yeah. If I was in like that position to kind of like have a solution, I feel like I would kind of make sure all these upcoming artists kind of start with the manager. Because I feel like most of the times we have like a new artist, and they just putting out songs and they believe that that's all that they need to do. But then there's obviously more to that. You need somebody that's going to connect you to other people, somebody that's going to like market you well, stuff like that. Somebody that's going to, like talk about you in like when they meet other people, like, bigger people, whatever. Yeah, I feel like that's something that's missing, because even for ABxETA, I don't think we have a manager, so
You don't think?
we don't. Okay, we don't.
We thought we did, but
don't.
Not sure. We'll have to check.
We don't have a manager, and that's something else that we've been looking into. But like, I feel like that's something that could also like help these guys, like come out and like be big or whatever.
Yeah, I guess, look, I tend to, and maybe I'm like somewhat biased, I tend to always look at problems from like the top down, right? And I typically think, because I mean, my belief, and I could be wrong, but I'm yet to like see evidence to the contrary. But my belief is that, like, so when people talk about, for example, I don't know, like any successful artist from like South Africa, any successful artist from America, right? The first thing that I think, or the first thing that like, I think maybe the consumer is not aware of, but I think I have a pretty good awareness of, one, having lived in, worked in these different markets, but also being very intimately familiar with the process of releasing and distributing music, and also, I guess, monetizing that music, and then going through all the having a PRO, I'm on BMI, how do you this, how do you that, going through all that nonsense. I think I like understand the ecosystem pretty well. And generally speaking, I think most of the problems are not like at individual level. You know what I mean? Like, because if they were at an individual level, I think that the music industry would not be concentrated in the countries it's concentrated in, right? Like the reason why the American music industry is the biggest music industry, it's not because it has the largest concentration of talented musicians. It's because it has the best functioning infrastructure to market the talent that they have, right? I mean, arguably, like if you just took, I don't know, the continent of Africa, for example, there must be millions of talented artists here. What we're lacking, obviously, is the infrastructure to like do what we need to with those, right? So I don't think it's like a question of all those millions of African artists need managers. I think what they need is a system to plug into. And the way that I like put it, or like I phrase it, because I did music when I was in the US as well, whilst I was in college and even after. And like when you just like talk to people in the music industry in America or whatever, the priority of the person functioning in the American music system, they know that their job is they just gotta blow. Right? It's like, as long as I figure out a way to like blow or have like a product that's hot, somebody will see me and will bring me an opportunity that will allow me to plug into the infrastructure, right? That is not the case in Zambia.
So like whether that's a manager or just the general internet,
whoever
deciding that you are the artist we're listening to right now.
Whoever. The record labels will find you, distribution companies will find whoever, as long as your product is hot enough. Whoever wants to find, companies will find you and want to give you money, like people will find you. Right? And will give you a doorway or a pathway into the monetization opportunity. Right? But in Zambia, generally speaking, that's not really, the guys who make it, the guys and girls who make it, I don't think they make it based off that concept. They make it off like a more, I'd say it's like a more entrepreneurial, self-made, grind it and create your own opportunity kind of thing, right? That's why, by the way, and this is how I make people realize that the issue is the system, not anything happening at an individual level. I tell them, look at the average age of like the biggest artists in a given market, and it directly, or rather inversely, correlates with how good the infrastructure is. So meaning, the younger the better. No, exactly, So young people only blow in places where there's a really good infrastructure. Otherwise, in places like Zambia, that young guy needs to grind like 10, 15 years before he's like visible enough. Like, look at it. No, seriously. Think about it. Think about our biggest artists, historically. They never reached, they were talented when they were young. But, but it took time to like... And that's because, you know what I'm saying? So I tend to think that the issues are not like at an individual level. So things can help, but I don't know. I just feel like we need to think about like the umbrella. And that's when like, you raise the standard of achievement for everybody at once.
I feel like it started opening up though. Obviously everything is gradual, right? But now like we're starting to see some music labels. The corporates are a lot more interested in artists than they were before. People making money off of just shows. Like it's starting to open up, and maybe some of these things just grow naturally.
But also, I feel like they're more inclined to like support a specific type of artist or artists.
That's true, and I think even I think we can all relate here that the specific type of artist is not us. You know, I think hip hop in general is always because even in America, like hip hop wasn't always the biggest genre of music, right? It had to slowly get accepted into it, and I think the more that the structure becomes mature, the more it can allow other versions of that thing to come in. So at first, it will always be the most popular, most sellable thing that can be accepted. And I think in any place, even in America, the highest token people are pop artists. Even here, same.
Pop,
South Africa is Amapiano. So even here, until the industry is big enough, it's always going to be a toss-up of like, should I listen to the name I shouldn't say, or I listen to ABxETA?
Yeah.
So
for me, I think the real question though is the chicken and egg. What creates what creates what? Is it that, having a scene or an eclectic scene where there's like generally just like a diversity of like listenership create more quickly catalyzes for an industry to grow? Or that as the industry grows, there's like a wider stream. Because I don't know, I don't know the answer, but what I can definitely say is like one thing that I feel like I've noticed is that the local palette is relatively is not necessarily the most like diverse palette, right? Like I say this like not to disparage, but just like I think we're just much more of, especially by percentage, a pop market. And then pop, obviously, in our own way, right?
Of course.
Because I remember very clearly, being in America, and like when I was in college, it was also crazy because that was like the height of the blog days, right? So like that's when like Wiz Khalifa blew up. That's when like Mac Miller blew up and stuff like that off blogs. And there was this thing, the blog culture, and I would argue like still just like generally the culture, for the most part, I mean it's changing a little bit, but with music in America as an example, is that the average person is very predisposed to want to discover somebody new.
Okay.
Right? There's this like just general inherent psychology that, oh man, there's this new guy called Wiz Khalifa. You guys heard of it? People are like, really? Yeah, exactly. There is social cachet in that. So even just like the average listener is just like far more willing to take like a personal risk on a new artist, on a new genre, on a new something, and be a champion of that. Okay. That's like something that's like the norm. Whereas here, that is not the norm. It's like you're an extreme outlier if you if you display that behavior. People are far more interested in looking left and looking right and saying, okay, that's what we're doing. Cool.
We're doing
right.
That.
That's the psychology more. So I always wonder, I always ask myself, does that harm us in any way? Because I feel like from what I've seen, all the big industries have extreme diversity. Even close to home, South Africa, there's Gom, Amapiano, they had Kwaito back in the day, they have the house, they have the hip hop, they have like a good 4-5 heavily stacked genres, you know what I mean? Yeah. And obviously over time it oscillates about who's like the most popping in the commercial eye, but their stack is there.
Yeah.
So I always ask myself, what comes first? Is it the diversity, then the industry grows, or the industry needs to grow to create the diversity? I tend to think the diversity comes first. So I think that our change will come here first.
That's
crazy.
So it's like it's almost like it's a cultural thing as well.
Yeah.
And I think here it might be a combination of both, right? You have a culture that's not too open to that diversity yet, or a smaller percentage of people that are open to it, and then you have an infant industry at the same time.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying, chicken and egg, right? So like, how do you create that momentum if you've got two like things which are like in their infantile stages? How do you create the momentum?
Yeah. Okay.
I think one's easier to motivate than the other. You can easily motivate the industry. We can sit down like this, get a couple people who are movers and pushers and say, let's build this industry, right?
Okay.
The culture.
Okay.
How do you tell people like, hey, start listening to my music?
Mm.
Yeah, I think that's difficult.
Interesting.
So I don't know. I think we can only hope that with all of our efforts, we can then motivate the culture, and I don't know. I think it's kind of starting to show in a way. It I think doesn't really help that the primary genre has kind of stayed the same for as long as the industry has existed, because you would hope that by now we would kind of start seeing shifts and oscillations, like you said, like with SA, for instance. So anyway, I guess just still in our infancy stage, baby steps.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like, I think maybe to wrap it up, how are you managing, based off of everything we've discussed, based off your experience here, outside? What's your journey looking like now, and like, how are you managing what we have here?
Yeah, no, one thing the first thing that I always say, and I'm glad that you guys didn't ask it, but the thing that I'm always asked is, few artists who rap in English, you're not really accepted. How do you feel about that? That's like that. I always get asked that.
Thank you so much.
It's a very, I get where it comes from.
Yeah.
That's a difficult question to ask, because we also don't make music in Nyanja or Demba or whatever.
Yeah.
No, but I have an easy answer for this question. So my perspective is not an expected perspective. I think most people who ask me that question don't know that I feel this way. I'm like, number one, the first thing actually is I'm like super grateful. Because I think I was accepted way more than I ever expected to be accepted. You know what I'm saying? I came back to Zambia, I was like, I'm not even going to waste my time with their music here. What I've been doing, I was like, there's no ways this will work. You know what I mean? Yeah. So and with each song, it has a different thing that catches. But I remember when I dropped the song with this SA artist called Gemini Majors, Money Gang.
Yeah.
And there's kids posting Facebook videos of them doing dances and stuff, and it's trap. It's hard, it's trapping, and I'm like, man, they was always telling me that this guy was
catchy as hell.
Yeah, but so I'm just like, yo, I'm happy. Number one, it's whatever they've given me, the Zambian fans, I am happy, I'm grateful. I don't feel like I haven't been accepted. But I am very happy, to be honest, especially considering what my expectations were. So I just wanted to say that.
I feel like I haven't been accepted, but yeah.
But it does help as a buffer, because AB and I look at our numbers sometimes, and obviously you want to be doing a million streams per song, you know what I mean? But to just be like, okay, even if we saw and said, okay, 30 people played this song, we're like, what I like to say is if you got 30 people to enter this house and all of them are like, wow, I liked that song.
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah. I think for me, my biggest takeaway is when I make a song, for example, and I play it back and I'm like, this is actually crazy.
Yeah.
Then I'm satisfied, Okay. And I don't know if it's good, if I'm supposed to make music for other people to feel the same way I'm feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is,
yeah, but I feel like once I just put out the song and I play it back and I'm like, yeah, this is crazy. And somebody, maybe 2-3 other people this is crazy, and I'm like, yeah,
my job is done here.
Yeah. That's it.
Till the next time.
Yeah. I feel like it's double-edged also, because when you make that song and you're like, what a masterpiece. Only 3 people like this masterpiece, So it's kind of both ways. Yeah. And that's the battle, I think, with me all the time. Because I'll enjoy a song and I'm like, this is so good. Why hasn't it reached more people like I had hoped?
So let me say it. I say this all the time. I'm gonna say it again because you brought it up, and because I hope or presume some young artists might watch this, right? Number one, forget that nonsense that if something is good, it goes. That's forget that. That is not the case at all. Yeah. So number one, so that means that if you do something good and it doesn't go, don't beat yourself up, because it being good is not what makes it go. Number two, if something goes, it's not necessarily good. So the two are independent things, and you just need to be like practical. So you say, okay, I've made this great thing. If I'm interested in this being the result, how do I get it to reach the maximum number of people? And there's certain steps you need to take to make that happen. And the steps are not the making of the thing. The steps are like after making the thing. Like I always used to talk to this, one friend in the music industry, and he's like, and he always used to say it, actually, this is his quote, so shout out to him, it's Caladocious. So I'll have to
I like how you're
attribute
dropping these names like no one knows who they are. And
no.
it's like, oh, Gemini major.
No,
right,
but I gotta, it's just attribution, I gotta give him credit for having said it. But he was like, man, making a song is like, it's like less than 50% of the work.
Of course. Because we're inherently, as the artist, and over time as you practice, you're good at it. So you sit down, you make the song. For you, it's like, that's the easy part. Yeah. So for all the young cats out there or young girls, making a good song is not enough. Don't be satisfied with the masterpiece. If your goal is to reach people. If your goal is not to reach people, then it's all good. Like, be happy, but if your goal is to reach people, then there's like steps you got to take.
Okay.
Did you even answer the? Oh my God, we're diverted. It was like, how are you managing with everything?
Oh yeah, how do complete tangent? So having said that, getting back to the long run tangent, but no, how I'm managing is, so what I'm trying to figure out now, right? Because my life circumstances have changed a lot in the sense that I run a company. I guess I have a child. You know what I mean? So like my life circumstances have changed quite a lot, where I can no longer do music in the same way that I used to do it. I used to just kind of like, I was kind of like reckless. I just like go for broke. Like, all right, 5 bags on this video. Let's go. Go to South Africa. People don't, I tell people now, but a lot of people didn't know that I had to go to South Africa 3 times to make the Bigger Wave video happen. First time I went, someone didn't show up, so we could only shoot half the video. Then I had to come. It was it was really complicated, man. So that's like, it's like $1,500 just in plane tickets. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like crazy. So point being, what I'm trying to figure out now is, how do you, going back to this question, you take a masterpiece, and I'm sitting on tons of them, like all the stuff that like the market would want to hear, right? So like I've got big features with SA people in the stash. I've got Nigerian artists in the stash. I've even got a US artist in the stash. But because I know how much of a headache it is to drop, and because having the song is such a small percent of what you actually need to do, I'm like, okay, so how do I find the best way to do all the rest? So, had a few conversations with some of the people that help with that kind of stuff. So we'll see where those conversations go. But yeah, I'd say that's where I'm at. And simultaneously, what I'm doing is so I sit on the board of this company now, founded by a Zambian lawyer. And the idea is trying to explore avenues that we can help young Zambian artists monetize their content. Because going back to that conversation about, how can we bring some money into the industry? And one, low friction way to do that is to try and place content. Because a lot, like you say, you're sitting on masterpieces. There's a lot of Zambian artists sitting on masterpieces that are not necessarily giving them their just dues, just because nobody has either, like, generally we're not aware of how to do the work to get it where it needs to go for it to like bring back the commercial results, or just like nobody is available to do it. So we're looking for those avenues, So I've had conversations with people at big like multinational kind of like entertainment and media companies to say, hey, would you have appetite to place Zambian music in a movie, in a series, in a cartoon, in a whatever, So I've talked to a lot of the big media companies, and limited success so far, but the idea is you keep knocking on the door until something changes.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool.
So that's how I'm, I guess, managing, or what I'm trying to work on.
That's a big plan.
What would you say was like something that happened like during your like whole music career? Like you can say, okay, this was like big, like amazing.
Wow, that's a tricky one, man. I don't know, because like I say, I'm like really grateful. So I feel like I had a lot of moments, and like every song and everything had its own thing that made me satisfied in what I'd put in, right? Like some songs, the music video did really well on TV. Some songs, for some reason, radio liked it. Some songs, I managed to pull off that feature with that essay guy, or you know, like so. Each thing had its own thing. Some songs, like I say, oh wow, the kids are dropping videos on Facebook to my stuff. Everyone said they don't like English hip hop, but you know what I'm saying. So each thing had its thing, you know.
So basically everything.
Yeah, for real.
Just happy to be here.
Yeah, exactly, bro.
No, that's dope.
I think I'm grateful for a lot of it as well. There's a lot of big moments that AB and I can point at. I think the numbers are. I think I can point at a really big one that felt really good to me. One of our songs, like just out of like organic reach, like cross borders, it was playing everywhere here and outside of here, and we added to playlists, and we just couldn't believe it. And for a moment, we're like, so like it's very possible to reach that many people, and it just felt really, really good. It felt really good.
Yeah, no, man, it's it often feels like a thankless task, and like. You know, like there's no light at the end of the tunnel. So those moments are dope.
We're just doing up charity.
Yeah.
So I want to do a little, just a short, like 5 questions, just zany questions. And you've already said you love Zambia, so we're here now to contribute to these questions.
Okay, let's go.
Just like hypothetical questions and like what you think about that. So Mr. Bruno's gonna ask the questions, and then we just give our inputs into those things.
Cool.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, so question number 1. What famous Zambian historical figure would make the best stand-up comedian, and why?
Let me start.
I don't like how quickly you had an answer.
Because I feel like you guys have the same, answer.
Huh? What? You don't know what I think.
Go first.
Okay. I think it'll have to be Mr. Michael Chilifya-Sata. Mr. Rest in Peace. I feel like he would be very. I don't know, man, because obviously he was very serious, you know.
Yeah.
But like he used to say some things, and I'd be like, "Why did he say that?"
Yeah, he
like,
did. You
I'm
said
not bloody lost.
Yeah.
Don't waste my time. You know, stuff like that. I feel like he'll be funny.
He did used to drop a lot of funny bars actually, and you're right. I did have the answer you're thinking of, but as I was thinking about it, I was actually like, yeah.
Wait, what answer were you thinking he had?
The same one.
Oh, you thought I had that one? No, I had another one.
I see.
I had another one.
But I guess we answer separately, right? So what's your answer?
I think probably. I think definitely Edgar Lungu.
Oh, okay.
I think he had a lot of, like, when he was giving statements and things like that, you could tell that he was kind of having like an enjoyable time. Like, he'd be jovial a lot of the times. So I feel like he's like an uncle you have over who just usually has something funny to say.
What?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, he just would drop jokes randomly and things like that. So Michael Sata would say funny stuff. Like, he was snappy with his responses. But Edgar Lungu would like make a lot of jokes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'd say Edgar Lungu.
Okay.
That's interesting. Yeah, you know what my concern about this question is, I realize that I don't think we have enough historical figures who are not presidents.
Who are not presidents?
Yeah, that's what this question told me. It's like, because my answer was a president too, not the same president, but I think that's a problem. Yeah, I think that's a problem. We need to work on our.
Yeah.
We need more historical figures. Hopefully, in like 20 years, someone's answer can be, Chanda Mbao, because you know.
Maybe they're just not sold enough. Maybe they're just not sold enough.
No, there's. I think it's mostly freedom fighters, and then presidents. I feel like.
Interesting.
But your answer?
So when he first asked me, I was like, who would I think is the funniest person that I'd hang out with from the past? And may he rest in peace as well. I was thinking FTJ. I was like, that guy seems like he was like just like a very like charismatic dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like a fly dresser. And all that kind of, you know what I mean? So I feel like charisma is his thing, and he knew how to work a crowd. Like, you know what I mean? His background was that he was a union leader, so he knew how to speak to people, You know, so yeah, I mean, may you rest in peace, and you know, this is not a political discussion. Just again, I think we need.
Real quick.
I'm just impressed that we gave different answers, all of us actually. So shout out to us for that one. Yeah. The next one.
If Zambia had a time traveling president, which historical event would they visit first for a good laugh?
That's
When the dollar was 5 kwacha. I mean 5 yeah, something. I think it was 5 kwacha.
It's like 3 kwacha at one point.
It was 3 kwacha at one point. Yeah.
It was 1 kwacha. It was 1-1 at one point.
Eesh.
That's that funny. I mean, there's those dudes who like, I don't know if it was real or not, but tried to have like a space program for Zambia.
Oh, yeah,
I think that's apparently it was real.
Yeah,
so
I think I actually saw that today I went to the art gallery. Yeah, I just don't remember his name because my memory sucks. Yeah, so like I saw that today.
I think that's pretty wild.
I think this one not as funny, obviously, but I think that was the naming of the Hero Stadium. I think you go back to that and you're like, wow, these options are
those first
actually,
names.
Yeah.
Is it Gabon disaster?
Gabon disaster. Yeah.
What does it mean that? Oh my days, man.
The list of options was just a sight to see. I feel like.
Oh my days, man. Yeah.
So yeah, how did Zambians react when they found out explorers had discovered and named the Victoria Falls?
I have a lot of beef with that one, so I'll go last.
How did Zambians react?
Yeah, how do you think Zambians react? Like, yeah, sitting here, oh, I think they just said, oh, guys, we've discovered. Then you're like, oh, well, we fetched it. Okay.
How much money does he have? He has pounds. Okay, let him name it. Let him name it. That's probably.
Let's see. Reaction. Victoria's fallen.
First of all, who is Victoria?
Yeah.
I think if I was there and first of all, I'm expecting that I went with a guy and he's like, yo, I think there's something this side. Where do you think it is? And I'm like, oh, let me go show you. Then he's there and he's like, we found it. I'd be like, what do you mean you found it? I just showed you where it is. I just took you to the place.
Oh my days.
Well, something for lunch.
Come on, Steve. Come on, Steve.
Now, if Zambia had a historical rap battle, which two figures would face off, and what would the epic rhymes be about?
Yeah, this also leads back to kind of some presidential, because there was some beefs in that office. There was some beefs.
There's been some proper Drake.
There was some
like
beef.
Straight up.
Yeah, I mean FTJ and KK had a little bit of a in the beginning.
Yeah,
it was a little hot.
They had a wild one, but I think easily Michael Sata and was it Michael and who was Michael like when he was opposition? Who was in power at the time? Was it Levy? It was Manawasa, yeah? Yeah, they used to go bar for bar. Yeah. They used to go bar for bar. Like to the point where I've remembered one that Michael said and I just don't even want to say it because of how disrespectful it was.
I think I want to hear it.
No.
I think I want to hear it. Don't you want to hear it?
Yeah, these issues.
Alamandi. But I think almost every single time that we had an election year, there was definitely beef.
Last one. What do you think Zambian historical figures would order at a modern fast food restaurant, and which one would be their favorite?
KK is definitely ordering vegetarian. Easy. I feel like.
Ish. I was about to. Ish. Huh? Ish.
Oh yeah.
I was about to mention, like. Ish. No. Anyway, I was going to talk about beef. So you put one plus one.
AK.
Yeah.
This one I don't like. I want to pass on this
I've actually. May I pick the safe one? Answering it. If I answer it first, I've taken it for everyone else.
Yeah. Okay, that's right.
Yeah, I don't know on this one.
Yeah. real quickly, what are you listening to? What are you watching right now when you're not reading, or maybe even what are you reading?
So today I was reading this book called Failing to Win. It's by a guy, I believe he's Canadian maybe by descent, but he started a business, or rather joined a business here in Zambia.
Oh,
If you guys might remember Zona.
yes.
So he was the CEO of Zona, and he wrote a book about his journey with it. So, yeah, so I was reading that today. But I read like several books at a time, and like I'm like kind of crazy like that. So anyway, so that's one I was reading today. Series wise, I'm rewatching a series called Marco Polo, which I really like.
watched
On
that.
Netflix?
I love it.
I
Yeah,
haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen it yet.
Because
fire.
you suck, man.
Huh?
I told you, this guy sucks.
Yeah, it's fire.
It's dope.
Yeah, so those are two things, and then listening to what's the most recent thing I was listening to? Just now I was listening to Lil Tecca. It's pretty random.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lil Tecca is pretty fire. I don't listen to his stuff much, but yeah, pretty fire. Pretty fire.
I usually just have them come up like when I'm listening to music, and then Apple Music just kind of like brings it
Recommends.
up. Yeah.
All right. I think it's been
Nice one.
fire. Yeah.
Thank you, gents.
Thanks for joining us on the couch.
For shizzle dizzle.
Sorry you got lost for a bit when getting here.
It's all good.
How would you name the podcast?
Yeah, what would you name the
Right, name
podcast?
the podcast.
Yeah.
Couch is the wrong way.
The couch is the wrong way for
The TV's behind the couch. That'd be something counterintuitive and crazy.
I like that one.
Yeah,
All right, everybody. Thanks a lot for watching. See you in the next episode. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, follow Chanda Mbao on Instagram, listen to his music on Spotify, or wherever you listen to music too. Hey, let's go. Let's go.
That's cool.
All right, that's a wrap.
All right.
Chanda, thanks a lot, man.